This is my part 2 of Can You Beat Super Meat Boy's Dark World with randomized characters. We have used 2 of our 4 rerolls so far, and we have beaten 3 of our 5 worlds. Without further ado, we are jumping right into the last 2 worlds of this challenge, and Hell is first on the list. For level 1, we got Meat Ninja. At first, I tried going about the level normally, but that didn't work too well. The gears in my now Jimmy Neutron-sized head started to turn, and I thought that if Meat Ninja could teleport through saw blade hazards, maybe he could teleport through the lava hazard as a shortcut. Well, I tried it, and it actually worked. I just had to time it so I landed on the platform that came in and out. I soon nailed it, and we made our way over to Bandage Girl to beat the first level of Hell. For level 2, we got Ogmo. This was great, because I would normally use the kid for his double jump to get through this level, but Ogmo would do just fine. That's why I was able to nail this level on my first try and make it to Bandage Girl. Level 3 was the moment of truth. We need a fast, agile character or we were screwed. Luckily, we got Jill for the job, and with their speed and slowfall, we knew that this level was definitely possible. That didn't mean it was going to be easy though, because we still died a lot trying to get the timing on each jump. But eventually, we got away with a clean run as we escaped the rising lava and reached Bandage Girl. Level 4 gave us the kid, and this kid was going to go far, because with his agility and superior movement, we beat this level on our first try. We got Headcrab for level 5, and we were about to be put through the ringer on this level. We quickly learned that Headcrab didn't have enough speed or height to make it past the first Sawblade obstacle. The Sawblade stood there and laughed at me as I tried everything I could to get around them, but it was to no avail. I even tried whipping out my alternative strategy for this level, whereas the kid, you can jump off this little nub and then double jump over the Sawblades to the other side. In theory with Headcrab, this should just be an easy wall jump with a long press to get us over everything. But without a double jump, or a little better movement speed, not even that was possible. I tried and tried, but nothing worked. As I said before, I can only do so much with a wall jump. Like the Evergiven in the Suez Canal, we were stuck, but we didn't have anybody in an excavator to dig us out. Unlike the former, it didn't take us 6 days to get unstuck after we were forced to use another reroll. I prayed that we didn't land on Headcrab again, and we got Jill. Jill could easily make this level, so that was a massive relief. But we were only a quarter of the way through Hell, and we were on our last reroll. Like the setting sun, our chances of beating this challenge were slowly disappearing, and we couldn't do anything about it. This level isn't hard, at least with the right character, and Jill proved that to us, as we were able to beat this level on our first try. Or maybe this level is hard, and I just made it look easy. I'm not really sure at this point. But what I am sure of is that we got Alien Hominid for level 6. But he didn't need a bicycle to fly like some alien posers. Instead, we were able to use his agility to fly through this level. We showed off our skills with Captain Viridian on level 7. We only died twice before we nailed the timing to make it around the Sawblades and to reach Bandage Girl at the end of the level. Level 8 gave us Ogmo. We only died a little this level. Ogmo's double jump ability really came in clutch, as it made getting over the boulders in this Donkey Kong barrel rolling looking level thing a breeze. That's why we were able to easily make it around the obstacles and up to Bandage Girl in this level. Level 9 was Run Man, and indeed we stretched our legs as we ran through the portals, over to the side, and into Bandage Girl's waiting arms. Level 10 gave us Captain Viridian. At first, I wasn't sure how to go exactly about this level, as Captain Viridian's lack of upward sliding momentum from a wall jump really made things difficult, but I quickly realized that if I couldn't slide up the walls, I could just fall up them instead, with Captain Viridian's gravity flip ability. This made going through portals much easier, but we still had plenty of difficulties trying to get past all the other obstacles this level threw at us. I found that an accurate use of the gravity flip could get me past these two saw blades, but I still had to make it through the tunnel of saw blades and boulders. We struggled, but eventually got it, and as I was sitting on the edge, ready to risk it all, I wanted to gravity flip, and walked Bandage Girl across the ceiling. But with how low I was, I didn't see no dang ceiling. Luckily, there was a ceiling there, so I happily made it to Bandage Girl. Level 11 was a cakewalk, as I got Captain Viridian again. Okay, let's resume the game then. That's very easy. After that cake and all these portals, I was feeling a bit like I was in Aperture Science Laboratory. Where's GLaDOS when you need her? But when level 12 gave us Fly Wrench, that feeling of fun science quickly went away. Luckily, Fly Wrench turned out to be surprisingly capable in this level, as it features a lot of flat walls for him to go up. We died a little, but quickly found our groove around these laser eyeballs. We snagged the key and easily made it back to Bandage Girl. Big Brother was still watching as I rolled Commander video for level 13. Obviously, these eyeballs needed something to look at, but I only let them see my dust as I unleashed my ultimate gamer strategy for this level and beat it on my first try. Jill was up for level 14. This level was basically the same as the Light World variant, except we had to beat it in reverse. Because we already knew what needed to be done, but in reverse, this allowed us to beat the level on our first try and reach Bandage Girl. For level 15, we crossed our fingers and spun the wheel. We got Captain Viridian for the level, and that was a massive relief. We died a bunch still, but we surely would have had to use a reroll if we got somebody like Headcrab, because they would not have the capability to jump from the side to the middle and grab the keys. Normally, I would use the Kid to beat this level, but with that probably being some form of child labor, we couldn't do that. Luckily, Captain Viridian was perfect for the job with their gravity flip, because they were just as good as the Kid would have been. Anyways, we got all the keys and finally made it to Bandage Girl to beat the level. Level 16 gave us Meat Ninja. We died a few times as he was a little faster than I liked for my regular strats, but we quickly adjusted, and we beat the level in no time at all. Runman was seen running through level 17. He was also seen dying twice. We made it over and around the hazards, and we struggled with the portal a tiny bit. I got it eventually, and we were able to make it to Bandage Girl though, so that's the good news. We were seeing double as we got Runman again for level 18. This was another level that was pretty much like the Light World, except you had to do it in reverse. Because of the Hell Missile things, we died a bit, but what's new with that? I mean, we've hardly flawlessed any of these Dark World levels on our first try anyways. Eventually, after struggling a bit, we managed to make it to the top and to our beloved Bandage Girl. I should have bought a lottery ticket because on level 19, I somehow rolled Runman for the third time in a row. What? I had to look up the odds on that because that was wild to me. Apparently, out of the 14 total possible characters that I'm using, the possibility of rolling the same one 3 times in a row is a whopping 0.045%. What the heck, dude? If I was opening CSGO cases, that is literally a knife, because those only have an estimated 0.25%. That's way higher than our tiny odds of 0.045. I mean, one has an extra zero in it, for crying out loud. But boy, am I just glad that didn't happen while we were using one of our rerolls, or that would have been the end of the video. Well, our luck must have completely ran out after that one. And we found out very quickly that it was probably true, because for the next 12 dang minutes, I got my face beaten in. It wasn't because this level was impossible, I knew that, but it was because of Runman's super fast sprint speed that I had to come up with a whole new angle of attack on this level. As my butt cheeks got pounded by the new alpha male of Super Meat Boy hazards, I was left with shreds of my sanity intact. I somehow managed to make it through. I found a cheeky strat that let me make it to the bottom, but by the time I reached my beloved bandage girl, I was left face down, rear end up, booty hole looking like a dang washing machine with too much soap. We were at last on level 20 though, and we managed to roll Jill for this endeavor. We only died once at the beginning of the level, but we managed to flawless the level on our next attempt. With that, we beat all of Hell's Dark World, and our new reroll count was at 1 out of 4. So, with the hardest world currently in front of us, we had to hope we could use it wisely. With a hope and a prayer, we didn't wait any longer, as we headed straight into the final world, the Rapture. For our first spin of this world, I ended up getting Fly Wrench. I wasn't even sure how this first level could go. I had hopes that it was possible, but after many attempts, I wasn't thinking it was. The beginning of this level wasn't even that hard. The biggest problem with this level, which I quickly found out, was the second vertical climb section. You see, it had 5 separate saw blades at different places, and this could be manageable with a character that had good wall jumps. Unfortunately, Fly Wrench was not that. Pair this section with overhangs and saw blades, this part becomes potentially impossible. While it was possible to make it across and above the saw blade on the right, the timing on each jump has to be literally perfect. Maybe with a little more optimization or a near frame perfect jump press, you could do it. But I decided to put that route as a last resort option. I then noticed that Bandage Girl was actually completely open. No keys were needed to reach her or anything. All I had to do was make it over this saw blade, and I would be home free. Miraculously, we made it up and over the saw blade and safely touched down to reach Bandage Girl. Level 2 gave us Ogmo. This was great, as any character with double jump was going to make any of these hard levels easy. The first half was basically a breeze, but the real scary part was the second half. I mean, that was a lot of saw blades, so I was a bit hesitant, but eventually, I just sent it, and ended up nailing it. Commander Video was up for level 3, and these push orbs ended up pushing us around more than I would have liked. Not only did they call us mean names, they took my lunch money too. Thankfully, it didn't take long for us to figure them out. They did sabotage my audio device, as I had to restart my ears and take a couple seconds to get that done. But, once we recovered, we quickly made it to the end of the level to complete it. Level 4 gave us Fly Wrench again, and I immediately discovered something incredibly helpful. We could sneak up through the push orb into this key room. Normally, you would have to go all the way around, but this acted as a great shortcut. I then was almost able to get to the top on my first try by riding the walls all the way up. It took a little bit of trial and error, but eventually I found a route that allowed me to get past the saw blades and to the top, and our degree in Fly Wrenchology helped us make the perfect decisions. It also took a little bit of bravery with that last push orb, but eventually we managed to make it up and around and into Bandage Girl's waiting arms. When we got Joseph for level 5, it didn't take an intelligent robot to realize something was wrong. After one attempt, we quickly realized that Joseph lacked the speed to stay on top of the disappearing platform. We went through a ton of grief as we tried to cling on to any shred of hope that this level was going to be possible. But, seeing that we were on the 5th stage after all, this was the quickest acceptance of defeat yet. I mean, there isn't much at all I can do when it comes to just sprinting. If the character isn't fast enough, the character isn't fast enough. But we had a massive problem. We were about to use our last reroll, and if Joseph, a character that had a decent speed, wasn't able to make it to the end of this level, that means we had a lot more characters to worry about. I already knew for certain that Captain Viridian, Fly Wrench, Headcrab, and now Joseph couldn't make this level because of their movement speeds. It was also safe to assume that Jill and Commander Video couldn't make it either. And possibly even Ogmo and Nyjah.
But why do we need him? You're fired, Guan Scran, get out of here, you moochers!
If we wanted to be certain that we could make it to the end of this level, we had to land on one of these 5 characters. If we didn't, the run was over. Right here, right now. I wasn't going to sit around thinking about the what-ifs. I was willing to accept that if this challenge ended here, that's how the cookie crumbled. I mean, that was the whole reason I did this challenge to begin with, after all, was just to see if I could. I knew from the beginning that this challenge wasn't going to be possible depending on someone's luck. So, it was time to see if mine had finally run out. I spun the wheel. I held my breath, but with only 5 possible characters now, we did it. We actually got Meat Boy. The run was still alive, but this means we were all out of rerolls, and I now had to complete 15 of the hardest levels I will play in this challenge without getting a single bad character roll. I honestly didn't know if I could do it, but I was just happy to know I could continue this challenge for a little longer at least. We still struggled a bit with Meat Boy. The speed of this platform was bonkers after all, but after a little bit of trial and error, we were able to finally make it past the saw blades, through the woods, and to Grandma's house where Banished Girl was waiting. For level 6, we got Fly Wrench again. This was bad. This was another timed gate level, and Fly Wrench did not have the speed to make it through them all in time. Was this really the end of the run? Did we seriously luck out on the next level? After such a lucky reroll against incredible odds? These were all thoughts that were going through my head, but then another thought went through my head. Why don't I just do this? Yep, with Fly Wrench's triple jump, I realized I could just avoid most of this level's problems. A little bit later, we were also able to squeeze past the final gate, press the button for all the doors to open to Banished Girl, and save the day. I got Meat Boy for level 7, and this was another key drop level, just like the one where I had to reroll with Alien Hominid. Fortunately, I knew all of these levels were beatable with Super Meat Boy. All I had to do was press a button and grab 2 keys, one after the other. If I failed on either key, I had to restart. This took a ton of trial and error, and I mean a ton, but eventually, I was able to get a good run through, and we then made it over to Banished Girl. Level 8, we got Meat Boy from the future, Meat Ninja. His teleport ability wasn't going to be useful, unfortunately, as we would easily run into another saw blade if we tried it on this level. Nope, instead, we had to take this level nice and slow and do it the normal way. But this level once again took a bunch of trial and error. I mean a ton. Eventually, we died enough and learned all the patterns to make it safely to the bottom of this horrible OSHA violation of an elevator ride. They say hindsight is 20 out of 20, but we were only on level 9 out of 20 when we got Steve. I already knew I was going to cheat with him, but it wasn't going to be easy. Yeah, I could have went a different route, but I was stubborn, okay? I failed a bit, but got something working by quickly placing some blocks above me, digging into the wall upwards, and going around all the hazards. Fly Wrench showed up for level 10. We were limping along at this point, and it felt like we were barely squeezing by when it came to these levels. This level has us grab 4 individual keys that drop down. Enemies will also drop out of the pipes that we need to avoid, and each key, when grabbed, will open a section of the map where more enemies will drop down. We needed to survive until the 4th key, which opens the exit to Bandage Girl. We struggled, but we actually found our groove pretty quickly, and it wasn't long before we were hugging our beloved Bandage Girl. We were now halfway done with the final world of this challenge. We got Jill for level 11, and promptly busted out Jill's skills. We were able to run over the top of this level like the light world, slow fall onto the button through the saw blades, bounce off the push orb, and into the main gate where we dodged the saw blades and reached Bandage Girl. Level 12 was Ogmo, and if Jill had the skills, Ogmo could pay the bills. We must have missed a payment because we did die once at the end by missing the timing of this disappearing platform jump. But on the next turn, we were able to run it back again. And this time, we made sure not to mess up the timing on this jump, where we made it to Bandage Girl, and then we successfully beat the level. Alien Hominid did his best to represent during level 13, but the wrath of Super Meat Boy's Dark World was going full force on us now. While we had trouble with this level in general, our biggest pain in the butt was these 3 jumps about halfway up the level. Sometimes they would do weird things to you without your consent, like push you into a saw blade. After many failed attempts, I was able to pull away with the run you're watching, and I eventually reached the top where Bandage Girl was waiting for us. Things were getting intense, and level 14 put Captain Viridian to the test. After jumping down, I knew immediately we weren't able to complete this level normally, as it was just too far of a jump for Captain Viridian. So, I tried seeing what I could do up top with my gravity flip, and ended up doing this. Now, this method was unreliable, and I arguably got lucky with the timing, but we did later find a more consistent route, as this was the only potential way we would be able to complete this level. It was simple. All I had to do was make a giant wall jump and get around this giant overhanging ledge. Before the enemy appeared from off screen, that was. Well, eventually after struggling for a while, I managed to get this beautiful run. Yeah, don't be fooled. This didn't take me a couple tries, as you can probably tell by my death replays. Level 15 gave us Joseph. We had a bit of PTSD from our final reroll because this level was another one that required speed. But, to our relief, we realized the tsunami of salt was much slower than the disappearing blocks we had to deal with previously, so I was fairly confident I could do this level. We died a ton, and after many deaths, we finally got this run, and we were super happy at the end of it.
Holy shit, we did it! No way, dude, let's go!
Yeah, once again, the replay doesn't lie, and I wasn't lying either about dying a ton of times. I finally got a moment to breathe as we got Steve for level 16. And a moment was all it took before I was heading straight to Bandage Girl and finishing this level. Nyjah was put to the test for level 17. This level was brutal. It's a bullet hell that rivals Normandy Beach. While I never thought this level wasn't possible, I knew it was going to take everything I had to not leave this challenge with a broken controller. It was just so hard to find a proper route with Nyjah and their movement speed. Her ability was mostly going to get us killed if we tried it anywhere, and my sanity was slowly draining. We dealt with this the only way we knew how, by running full sprint straight at our problems. With each death, we were slowly picking away at this level's defenses, dissecting each necessary movement, button press, and jump until we could achieve the perfect route to reach our ultimate girl of Bandage Girl. And, eventually, our hard work would pay off. Did I say I died a lot again? We had 3 levels left now, and ended up getting Ogmo for level 18. but it doesn't really make a difference because more bullets were flying around this level than an American classroom. Once again, I had to dissect every possible angle of approach, decide which ones worked best, and modify my strategies on the fly. Okay. It was hellish, but I had to keep going. I then figured I might be able to do a little fancy footwork up top because that's the only place that would be left once the saw blades rose. I felt I was onto something, and I eventually perfected the strategy after dying over 50 times. That's it. Right there, baby. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Level 19 was Nyjah, and let me just speed this up real quick. Much better. Nothing different can be really said about this level from the last two. We once again died more than you could imagine because the timing of this saw blade launcher at the top of this wall climb was super difficult with Nyjah and her mobility. While I tried to remain strong, I could only slowly try and diagnose what I could do as a different angle of attack. Not much. The answer was not much. I would occasionally make it through, and I found that the best way to make it up this wall was not to in fact go as fast as possible, but instead use Nyjah's boost to get upward height, activate it so that she will slow fall, and then repeat once the wall comes back. With what felt like years later, we had finally managed to put our routing to work, and finally get a run that carried us all the way to the end of the level. Bandage Girl better be thankful after all this. That's all I'm saying. We were now on the final level of this challenge, level 20. We got Jill as our final character, and things looked pretty good, except... No, Jill isn't fast enough. No. Tragedy had struck. The final level of this challenge had screwed us. Jill didn't have the speed to make it to the end of the tunnel before the saw blades caught up to her, which means it was the end of the challenge. We had failed. At least, that's what I thought. By jumping down, as soon as the saw blade launches from the wall, Jill just barely has enough time to make it to the other side and make it to safety. The run was still on. I felt it in my bones. I died a bit, but I knew I just had to time it perfectly. And perfectly, we eventually did. Stop freaking out, stop freaking out, stop freaking out, stop freaking out. Okay, what do I gotta do? That's simple enough. I just gotta, you know what, let's just fucking send it. Holy shit, okay. Okay, we did it, we did it. Let's go, let's fucking go, dude. Holy shit, that was so close. Oh my god. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have completed the challenge. But what's the conclusion? Well, in the beginning, I knew that this challenge was going to be mostly luck-oriented. In no way, shape, or form would this challenge be completable every time you try this. That's a fact. Theoretically, if you had good rolls for every level, this is completely doable without a single reroll. We just weren't that lucky. But to give you a percentage of the possibility to get such a good run would be impossible for me. I'm not a mathematician, nor is one run a large enough sample size to draw a reasonable conclusion from. Sorry to disappoint you. But I sure hope this little series didn't disappoint you. And if you want to see more stuff like this, why not subscribe? I plan on making more challenge videos just like these, and I have at least one more Super Meat Boy video in store. I also want to say one last thing, which is to thank you, the viewer. What am I, PBS outro? But seriously, I have never dreamed that these videos would get as many views as they did. And all the support and kind words from everyone makes me want to keep doing these. Words can't really put into justice though about how I feel in the end. But just know that it means the world to me that you decided to click on my videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching.